Good morning and welcome back to Enhancing Your Vehicle Ownership. I'm Nate and today I am in the beautiful state of Idaho, up here in Grace, Idaho, up more in the mountainous region to say, and I'm going to be replacing my air conditioning compressor on my 1995 Toyota Camry LE. Now, if you watched one of my more recent videos, you know that the AC compressor clutch is one of the biggest, the major issues on this car that I need to fix, that I need to address, because it is August and it has been super hot. This last week we had temperatures ranging from upper 90s to 100 degrees, and that's just a little bit too hot for me to be driving around in this car with the windows down. So I'm going to get the AC compressor replaced today, and then later this week I'm going to go ahead and loan out a manifold gauge set and a vacuum pump from O'Reilly's and replace the coolant, the R134A, in the system as well. So I've already evacuated the coolant from the system, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to replace your AC compressor in this car. It's super easy. I would not under any circumstance pay a mechanic to do this for me. With that said, also, I promised you guys another repair video that I was going to have out last week. I've been doing a lot of traveling lately, so I haven't been able to produce as much content as I have been hoping to, and somehow I deleted the footage from the video that I filmed, and that was the repair of replacing the upper torque strut mount on this same car. And I'm still looking to see if I can recover that footage, but if not, I'll probably end up refilming a little bit lamer of a video for you guys on that. So I do apologize for that, but stay tuned for that as well. Like this video, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at UIVO_auto for sneak peeks of upcoming videos, content, and some of my stupidity. So here's the old air conditioning compressor pump. The clutch is burnt out, so to replace this, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to loosen this belt, take off these two hoses. I've already evacuated the coolant from the line, so if you don't know how to do that, I'm probably not going to show you guys here in this video, but go ahead and do some extra research. You're not supposed to just open the hose and let it out. Remember that they're under pressure, and that causes damage to the environment. So if you want to learn how to evacuate these properly, you'll probably have to go to a parts store and have them do it for you with a fancy machine, and just maybe do some research on that. This coolant's already been evacuated, so you'll then have to remove these two lines to remember which one goes where, because I think they're pretty much identical from looking at them in the new pump. Then you'll have to remove the electrical connectors that are on the pump, and then there are only 3 bolts that hold the pump in place. So there's one on the bottom, or sorry, 2 on the bottom and 1 on top, and then somehow we're going to have to finagle that thing out of here because it is under a coolant line and your oil filter is right next to it. We'll probably have to remove the dipstick and maybe just kind of maneuver it out this way. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but this is not a super hard repair by any means. I think anyone can do it, and you really only need a standard metric socket set to do this repair. This belt that drives the compressor pump is just a singular belt, so it runs the alternator and the compressor, and then of course it goes down to your regular crankshaft wheel. We're going to go ahead and remove this by loosening the alternator. So the alternator is on a slide bracket. You're going to want to loosen the bolt that is up top here, being hidden by my paper towels. That'll allow the alternator to drop down, and then you'll want to loosen the slide bolt and simply slide the alternator down. These bolts here are a socket size 12. I'm going to use a breaker bar for this one because I imagine that they are a little tighter than they need to be. Do not completely remove this front bolt on the alternator. That one just has to be loose. Same with the one in back. You do not want to completely remove it, but you do want to loosen it up. It's a size 14. So go ahead and loosen this one back here as well. I think the best way to do that is going to be to remove this coolant reservoir, at least get out of the road. So all you should have to do is pull up on this reservoir and slide it down. And then I can get my breaker bar back in here. Oh, it looks like we also have to loosen this bolt on top, which is also 12. This bolt will actually move the alternator up and down. It looks like to loosen that belt, once I'm cranking it loosen, the alternator is going down and this belt is getting loose. You guys need to remember that these belts are directional. Once you've used them, they have to stay going in the same direction. So if you can, either don't take it off all the way or somehow make a mark on the belt so you know which way to put it back on. I usually draw an arrow and then remember that my arrow goes down. So I'm going to go find a Sharpie and draw an arrow here, or if I can, I'm just going to take this belt off and not sit it down. Okay. That should give me enough room to get the belt off the AC compressor clutch down here, which I'm doing now. Once I have the belt off down there, I'm going to go ahead and remove the two 10mm bolts here on the hoses. I'm going to come around and show you guys that. Alright, so the AC cooler lines that are on top of the compressor are super easy to remove. They're just two 10mm bolts on top, and then you want to get a screwdriver and get underneath it and pop it out. Now bear in mind that if you have not evacuated the coolant out of your system, this is going to make kind of a big explosion or popping noise. It is under pressure, so be very careful. And even be very careful if you have evacuated the coolant out. When I took this one off, it still made a pop and a whoosh, which startled me. And then this other side should not be under pressure. Mine wasn't. After you remove one of those lines, the other line will not have any pressure on it whatsoever. So with those lines removed, we're just going to kind of set them aside. You want to remember what side they go on. That's very important. And then we're going to go ahead and remove the electrical connections on this compressor pump, and then we'll try to remove the actual pump. Push hard on the sides and then stick a screwdriver in here on top of the electrical connection and then wiggle that up. And then there may be one other little electrical connector on top of your air conditioner pump. I don't think it's part of your air compressor pump, but go ahead and remove it anyways. Let the connector fall down and let the other one, I guess, sit on top of the air compressor pump. You have to stick your screwdriver in and then just pull it out. It's a little round connector. Bolts around the pump are size 12, and I'm just using a regular standard 3/8 socket. I have my AC compressor pump free, and now I'm going to try and wiggle it out of here. Awesome. Alright, so here's the old air conditioning compressor pump. Here's the new AC compressor. This is the clutch, Bailey. This is the clutch that went bad on the old AC compressor. It burned up, it won't spin. You can see the rubbers are all cracked, and it's just not good. You can see that the clutch here looks brand new. There's no cracking or scoring, obviously. You can tell, I guess, the difference is what I'm saying between the good clutch, or the good clutch, and the bad clutch. And with that said, I'm so excited that I'm going to have AC here soon. I'm going to go ahead and finagle this AC compressor back in there in that tight little space. With it in here, I'm going to try to start the upper bolt. If that top one started, it'll allow me room to be able to wiggle this a little bit to get these other bolts started, which I am going to clean up slightly with brake parts cleaner. Don't want to tighten these bolts down quite yet until you get all of them in at least and started. And then you want to suck them all up evenly, so we'll kind of do a little pattern going in a circle just so the compressor clutch sits back perfectly evenly how it should. Because if you don't, the pulley that the belt guides on won't be completely in line to where it should be. It'll be slightly off one way to the other. And then we'll have a whole bunch of belt problems in the future. Once you do get them all tightened down, you're going to want to drop your electrical connector and plug it in to make sure that everything meshes up exactly how it should. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the plugs here and put my actual hoses back on. Keep in mind on these hoses that you're going to want to check the O-ring in here and make sure that it's lubricated before you put it in. If that O-ring's bad, do not use it. Get another O-ring because your AC system will just leak here, and it won't work if it has a leak in it. Alright, so the AC compressor pump that I bought comes pre-oiled. If it does not come pre-oiled, you're going to want to put oil in the system, which we'll talk about later, but keep that in mind when you purchase one and when you install it is, does this have oil in it? I'm going to get my iPhone out and show you guys this just so you can see up close what's going on here. So I'm on the iPhone. I wanted to show you guys this. So before you put these hoses back on, you need to get these out of the old air conditioning pump. I took a pair of pliers and just pulled it, and then I have a soft rubber mallet that I tapped it in with. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for both sides. And then you do have to reuse the old bolts from the old system. But there's our new AC compressor pump. Once we get these hoses in and this belt tightened, we're done and she'll be ready to recharge. That done, we're going to go ahead and tighten the alternator back up, and we will be done with our repair. So this Camry actually has a really cool system for taking off the belt here, and that's this. So the alternator slides up and down on the slide bracket. You have to loosen this bolt, and you have to loosen this bolt here in the back on the alternator so that it can drop and slide down. But with that free, or with these bolts loosened, then you want to loosen this top bolt, because that actually allows the alternator to slide, which is a minor annoyance but is super cool when tightening it. So in tightening it, you just want to pick up on this and then tighten this bolt down. Once you get it all the way tight, you can actually take a socket on this and tighten it even more. That way you get this belt nice and snug. Most old cars just have an alternator slide bracket. You slide it by hand, and you have to tighten this bolt and the back bolt to get it all snug. So you kind of have to tighten this belt by hand. This is a cheat to that. That way your belt's even tighter and you don't ever have to worry about it. And just like that, we are done with today's repair on my 95 Camry. I'm so excited that I'm going to be having air conditioning coming back very soon to this car, so stay tuned to the channel if you want to know how to recharge an AC system that has been completely evacuated. This is not a simple plug those recharge cans onto this car and go. We're going to get the manifold gauge set and the vacuum pump from O'Reilly's, and we're going to recharge this AC system properly. This is a super easy repair. I hope this video helped you guys out. If it did, go ahead and smash that like button. All in all, this repair should take you around an hour, maybe 45 minutes if you have everything right there ready to go. I put the plugs back into my old AC compressor pump because I am going to save it, because the pump is good but the clutch is not. So also stay tuned to a video on the channel coming very soon about how to remove the AC compressor clutch from one of these pumps from these cars, or in general it's really pretty similar throughout the automotive industry. So if you want to see that, stay tuned to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and also follow me on EYVO_auto on Instagram so that you guys know what I have upcoming, so you get some sneak peeks of what's going on in my life regarding automotive ownership. So if this video helped you guys out, like this video, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. I hope you guys are doing great. Get out there and enjoy your automotive ownership. Until next time.